This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV on YouTube with a UFO, I guess you could say this news update slash review. The Age of Disclosure producer slash director Dan Farah was on Joe Rogan today to talk about the movie. He did an over 2 hour podcast and I watched it. I did not watch The Age of Disclosure, and here's a bone that I have to pick with it. If you care so much about disclosure, why do you put it on Amazon Prime where you have to pay to see it? And there was no theater anywhere around where I am now to see it. And I'm sorry, but I don't want to see it enough to get Here's the one thing: if you want it to make a difference, I'm sure it's eventually going to be out to a wider audience. But like if I'm a massive UFO fan and I don't want to pay to see it because I don't want to have to subscribe to Amazon Prime and I guess it's still $24.99 or whatever. Like how are you going to get the non-believers to see it? Cuz from what I understand and I've watched many reviews on it so far, there's not like if you already follow it and watch like 4 to 6 hours or more of documentaries and UFO news a day, it's not going to be much news. The one I'll go through what they talked about on Joe Rogan. By the way, the producer believes that there's going to be so much blowback from this that Donald Trump is going to reveal that the US is aware of the visitors in some type of statement soon. And Joe Rogan was saying he could see that happen. He was even going to nudge Trump in that direction. And I actually do believe that probably there will be some type of admission soon because I do believe Trump wants to be the president that admits some type of disclosure. And there's so much coming out about it lately to keep not telling the truth. It's gonna make you look bad. Here's someone that's seen it. Nothing was disclosed that you didn't already know. So yeah, there you have a good point there, Axlinger. That's why I didn't buy it because nothing was disclosed that I didn't already know. But yes, why now? Is something going to happen soon that they've got to tell us? I agree. There's a good point. In this interview, by the way, Joe said it was the Bob Lazar story that got him back interested in UFOs. Because if you ever seen my Paul Hellyer interview with the Honorable Paul Hellyer, a guy that famously said NASA was a bunch of liars and know very well what's going on with UAPs and study it very closely, which I do believe. NASA just came off as a bunch of liars this week. It actually really turned me off with NASA's little press conference this week. But yeah, during the time that I interviewed Paul Hellyer, Joe Rogan was more anti. He didn't believe this type of stuff because I remember I had asked someone had brought up Paul Hellyer to Rogan, and Rogan had said something negative about Paul Hellyer, who's now passed away. But I did his last major interview, which many people have licensed because it was probably his most detailed UAP interview ever, and it is on the Hannibal TV. If you search up Canadian Defense Minister on UFOs, it's my favorite interview I've ever done. But anyways, I can confirm at that time Joe Rogan was anti-UFO, so he does confirm that it was the Bob Lazar story and meeting him that got him back into it. He also believes Travis Walton. The only thing I'll say about Travis Walton is if you watch Travis's interview with me and Joe Rogan, he does give a slightly different version as far as the physical contact he had with the beings, the fighting with them. He gives a different version in those two stories. Yeah, that NASA broadcast was brutal, my friend. As far as the why they are more interested in us these days in monitoring our defense capabilities and nuclear progress, It's because up until like 100 years ago, I mean, maybe we knew more behind the scenes, but a lot of people were still on very basic cars and horses. I mean, it's only now that we are entering space. We are flying further. We supposedly have access to crafts that we have reverse engineered. Our weapons are becoming bigger. So for anyone that wants to wonder why are they interested now, this is one of the reasons, because as they used in this, apparently one example they used was you don't care about ants until they enter your house. Now we are entering space. We want to colonize Mars. We want to go back to the moon. So why do I think the time is now? Because I think something is going to happen. Let's hope it's not Three Eye Atlas related, but something's going to happen where word has to get out, and they want to at least jump the gun a bit so they can say, "Well, we already told you." And they did talk in this podcast a lot about, well, not all presidents know the same amount, and it is hidden from presidents. So Donald Trump could actually announce something with fairly clean hands. Apparently they did not like atomic weapons testing, and this goes with that whole Tom DeLonge Operation Starfish Prime story, that apparently they talked in this about how pulses from nuclear bombs and stuff can actually affect UAPs. And they go into like the testing in space of nuclear. Yes, we have blown up nuclear bombs in space, as dumb as that sounds. We have done it. And we've also done it underwater. Apparently, some of those times have been actually more to deal with UAPs than just to randomly test nukes. Apparently, the visitors are concerned about our technology and want to know about our technology. There's multiple species out there, at least two. Actually, at least four, they're saying. And apparently, some of them have met. They're saying the Holloman Air Force Base situation was real. And Hal Puthoff says in this that as part of the legacy program, the government has also made contact with beings. And I actually saw David Grush, who's sporting a new look today, also saying today that there's also been direct contact with beings. So here's NASA telling us, oh, let's spend billions trying to find microbial life in space, when the reality is we've actually made contact with visitors and there's been face-to-face meetings. The stupidity of, and yet we're supposed to get excited and continue to spend billions to find specks of life elsewhere. We're being visited now. That is the truth of the matter. The extent of it might not be known, and there might be a lot of hearsay, but I will say this, as annoying that it is that there's no new real information in this, that UFO geeks like me and the axe slinger here, um, the world is a stage. Well, we'll find out. Like for your average person, if they stumble onto this, and news people that maybe haven't been taking this seriously, it's a lot of officials going on the record about this all in one documentary. I think there's like 33 officials. Apparently one of the issues with disclosure is finding legal protection for the people that might get in trouble for covering things up, that may have done illegal activities to cover things up. And I heard Joe Rogan saying this too, like one of the issues is people are worried about retaliation, because if certain people talk about things, they might actually come to physical harm by people that might face legal consequences. So the best thing to do in this case might be to get rid of some of the consequences. Yeah, Jeffrey, I think everyone that's seen it likes it. We're just wondering, like, we wish it could have been more accessible. UFOs like to land in remote areas, wide open spaces like those found in rural New Mexico. Yes. One thing they talked about in this, though, is, or it may not have been in this, I may have seen something else. There's not as much activity in places like Antarctica as there is in places like New Mexico for whatever reason. And that's from worldwide surveillance that the military does. Also Africa. There's not as much in Africa. So maybe the reasons for that is they're interested in surveying us and they want to go and survey the most important stuff. So they also talk in this that the legacy program is 100% real. More information is going to come out soon. And the Trump administration is aware of the documentary and they're going to respond to it and make some type of statement. Jeffrey says they found it interesting they spoke about actual alien contact with the CIA, in fact, too. Yeah, that was the Holloman Air Force Base incident where they talked about. But yes, in this, they talk about direct alien contact. Funny you mentioned Antarctica. Did I know it's restricted to go to the South Pole? I did not. Very interesting. So yeah, the main thing I guess we've learned from this that we can take away from this is there has been direct contact with at least two. Maybe that's what they said, that there's 4 species, but at least 2 there's been contact with. And the legacy program is real, and the Trump administration is aware of the film and is going to make some type of response about it. So things are heating up, and why is this all coming out now? That remains to be seen. The world is getting